My best friend lied in court to steal my family. 8 years later, my daughter found proof in her dead grandmother's storage unit and called me for the first time. 8 years ago, I lost my daughter in a custody battle. Not because I was a bad father, because my best friend wanted my wife. He took the stand and told lies so convincing that the judge looked at me like I was a monster. I remember his face when he did it. No shame, no hesitation, just cold, calculated betrayal. His name was Derek. We've been friends since high school. 15 years of friendship. I trusted him with everything. He knew my daughter, played with her at barbecues, called her his little niece. And then he sat in that courtroom, looked the judge in the eye, and said, he watched me shake my daughter during one of my rage episodes. I didn't have rage episodes. I never touched my daughter in anger. Not once. But Derek had come prepared. He pulled out text messages, showed video clips of me and my daughter together. Happy moments twisted into something ugly, made to look like I was aggressive, dangerous. Our lawyer wasn't ready for it. Nobody was. My wife Karen sat across the courtroom crying. Perfect tears. Perfect timing. I looked at her hoping she'd say something, hoping she'd tell them this was insane. She never even looked at me. The judge stared at me with disgust. My own lawyer seemed uncertain. That day, I lost everything. No visitation, no phone calls, nothing. Complete cutoff from my own child. I walked out of that courtroom barely able to breathe. Went home, got drunk, called Derek at 2 a.m. slurring and demanding to know why. Why would you do this? We were brothers. His response still echoes in my head. Cold laughter. Then he said, I've wanted Karen for years. You know how I get when I'm in love. Then Karen took the phone. Her voice was different now. No more tears, just cruelty. She said Derek would be a better father than I ever was, that I'd never see my daughter again. I begged them to tell me it was a joke. Instead, Karen poured salt in the wound. They'd been sleeping together for 2 years. The whole court case was planned. Every lie, every fake document, orchestrated to steal my daughter and my life. I should have fought harder. Instead, I ran, moved from Indiana to Ohio, started over, tried to rebuild something from the ashes. But I never gave up on my daughter, not once. Every month for 8 years, I sent birthday cards, Christmas presents, letters telling her I loved her, telling her I was thinking about her, telling her that whatever her mother said about me wasn't true. I never got a single response, not one. I found out later that Karen told my daughter terrible things, said I used to hurt her when she was little, said I abandoned them, said I was dangerous and she should be grateful Derek protected her. My own daughter grew up believing her father was a monster who didn't want her. I almost gave up hope, almost accepted that she'd never know the real me. Then one phone call changed everything. It was a Tuesday evening. I was sitting on my couch watching some stupid game show. Phone rang. Unknown number. I almost let it go to voicemail. Something told me to answer. I picked up and heard breathing on the other end. Shaky, nervous. Then a girl's voice, barely above a whisper. Is this Michael Carter? My heart started pounding. Yes. Who is this? Long pause. More shaky breathing. Then one word that nearly stopped my heart. Dad? I couldn't speak, couldn't move. 8 years of silence and now this voice I barely recognized. My hand was trembling so hard I almost dropped the phone. Lily? Lily? I finally managed. Is that really you? Yeah. Her voice cracked. It's me. I found your letters, all of them. What? How? Where? Grandma died last month. She was crying now. I could hear it. We had to clean out her storage unit. Mom made me help. There was this box way in the back. Had my name on it. I opened it and there were hundreds of letters. Birthday cards, Christmas cards. All from you. All with your return address. 8 years of letters. I never stopped, I said. Never. I sent something every single month. I thought you were getting them. I thought you just didn't want to respond. They told me you abandoned us. Her voice was getting stronger now, angrier. Mom said you left because you didn't want a family anymore. Derek said you were dangerous, that you used to hurt me when I was little. I believed them. For 8 years, I believed them. None of it was true, Lily. Not one word. I know that now. I read every letter, every single one. You kept writing even when I never answered. You never gave up. She paused. Why didn't Grandma give me the letters? I don't know, sweetheart. Maybe she was afraid. Maybe she felt guilty. She saved them, though. That has to mean something. I need to see you, Lily said. Can I see you? I need to know if you're real, if this is all real. Yes. God, yes. Tell me where and when. I'll be there. We made a plan. She couldn't get away without making Karen suspicious, so she told her mom she was going to her friend's house after school on Friday. Instead, she'd take a bus to a coffee shop in Greenfield, 2 towns over from where they lived, neutral territory. I said I'd drive the 4 hours, meet her at 4 p.m. Those 3 days waiting were the longest of my life. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Kept looking at the one photo I had of her from her 4th birthday. Chocolate cake all over her face. Big grin. I wondered what she looked like now. What kind of person she'd become. Whether she'd hate me for not fighting harder. Friday came. I left at 11 a.m. just to be safe. Arrived 2 hours early. Sat in my car outside that coffee shop watching the door like a crazy person. At 3:47, a bus pulled up down the street. A girl got off. Tall for her age. Long brown hair. Backpack over one shoulder. She stood on the sidewalk looking around. Nervous. Scared. My daughter, 12 years old. I barely recognized her, but I knew in my bones it was her. I got out of the car. She saw me. Our eyes met across the parking lot. She froze. I froze. Neither of us moved for what felt like forever. Then she started walking toward me, Slow at first, then faster, then running. She hit me like a freight train, arms around my waist, face buried in my chest, sobbing. I wrapped my arms around her and held on. Her whole body was shaking. I could feel her heart pounding against my ribs, fast and scared like a trapped bird. She smelled like cheap shampoo and bubble gum, and something about that broke me completely. This girl I hadn't touched in 8 years, my daughter, my baby, her tears soaked through my shirt, warm and wet against my skin. I was crying too, couldn't stop, didn't care who saw us standing there in that parking lot falling apart together. "You came," she kept saying. "You actually came." Of course I came. I'd have walked here if I had to. We went inside eventually, got a booth in the corner, ordered hot chocolates we never touched, just sat there looking at each other, filling in 8 years with words that felt completely inadequate. She told me about her life, about living with Karen and Derek, about the lies they fed her since she was 4. She told me Derek had a temper, that he'd grab her arm when he was angry, leave bruises, that Karen would make excuses, say Lily needed to try harder not to provoke him. "He doesn't treat Sophie like that," she said. Sophie was her half-sister, Derek's biological daughter, 4 years old. "Sophie gets the nice version of him. Patient, gentle. With me, it's always his temper or nothing at all, like I don't exist. Has he hurt you recently?" She hesitated, then slowly pulled up her sleeve, fading yellowish bruises on her upper arm. Fingerprint shaped, clear as day. My vision went red. I had to grip the table to keep from standing up and driving straight to their house. "That was last week," she said quietly. "I forgot to take out the trash. He grabbed me so hard, I thought my arm would break. Lily, this is abuse. You know that, right? This isn't normal." "I know. I didn't used to know. But I figured it out." She looked down at her hands. "There's something else. Something I need to show you." She pulled out her phone. Old model, cracked screen. Her hands were trembling as she scrolled through. "Last week, Derek came home drunk. Really drunk. I was supposed to be asleep, but I heard him talking to Mom in the kitchen, bragging about stuff, about you, about the court case. I snuck downstairs and recorded him through the door." She hit play. Derek's slurred voice filled the space between us. "Your daddy thinks he's so smart. Couldn't figure out we set him up. Those videos? Edited. My buddy Marcus works in film production. Did me a favor. Made it look like Mike was losing his temper when really he was just playing with the kid. And those text messages? Karen wrote them herself. Sent them to me so I could show the judge." There was a pause. Then Karen's voice, faint but clear. "Keep your voice down. She's sleeping. Who cares? She's dumb as a rock, just like her father. We got him good, babe. Took everything from that idiot. His kid, his wife, his whole damn life. And he never figured out it was all fake. 8 years and he still doesn't know." The recording went on for 6 minutes. Derek bragging about every detail. How they'd planned it for months before the trial. How Karen's mother knew but kept quiet because she wanted Karen happy. How they paid some guy $200 to pretend he was a concerned neighbor who'd witnessed my outbursts. How Derek's film school buddy edited the videos for free as a favor. By the time it ended, I was shaking. 8 years. 8 years of thinking I'd lost everything because the system failed me, because the judge believed lies. But it wasn't the system. It was them, deliberately, methodically, destroying my life for their own selfish reasons. "I didn't know what to do with it," Lily said. "I've had it for a week. I was scared to tell anyone, scared they'd find out and make things worse. That's why I finally called you. I thought maybe you'd know what to do." "You did the right thing, Lily. This recording changes everything. This is proof." I called my lawyer that night, played him the recording. He went quiet for a long time. Then he said 4 words that made my heart stop. "We can get her back." The next 3 weeks were the longest of my life. My lawyer filed papers, made calls, set things in motion. I didn't care about the details. I only cared about one thing, keeping Lily safe until it was done. She stayed with her friend Maya most nights, told Karen she was working on a school project. Every evening she'd call me in whispers. "Derek's been drinking more," she said one night. "He keeps asking why I'm never home. I think he suspects something." "Just a few more days," I told her. "Stay calm. Don't let them see anything's different." "I'm scared, Dad. What if he finds my phone? What if he sees the recording?" "Delete it. We already have copies. Delete it and act normal. I promise this will be over soon." The call that changed everything came on a Wednesday. Child Services had shown up at Karen's house, asked questions, played them the recording. That night, Derek called me for the first time in 8 years. "You think you're clever?" His voice was slurred, drunk, angry. "Turning my own stepdaughter against me? Teaching her to spy? She's not your stepdaughter. She's my daughter, and you're done hurting her. I never touched that kid. I have a recording that says otherwise. So does Child Services. So does the court." Silence. I could hear him breathing. Heavy. Scared. "This isn't over," he finally said. "Yeah, Derek, it is." The hearing happened 2 weeks later. I sat in that courtroom with my hands shaking. Same building where I'd lost everything 8 years ago. Same smell, same fluorescent lights, different outcome. Derek tried to claim the recording was fake, edited, manipulated. The judge wasn't buying it. When they played his own voice confessing to perjury, to fake evidence, to paying witnesses, I watched his face crumble, the smug confidence draining away, replaced by something I'd waited 8 years to see: fear. Karen sat 3 rows behind him, crying. Not her perfect courtroom tears this time. Real ones. The kind you cry when you realize everything you built was a house of cards. The judge read the custody order. Full custody to the biological father. Effective immediately. I heard the words, but they didn't feel real. Lily grabbed my hand, squeezed hard. I looked at her and she was smiling through tears. "We did it, Dad," she whispered. I couldn't speak, just nodded. 8 years of fighting. 8 years of letters that went nowhere. 8 years of missing her. Over. Finally over. I drove to Indiana to pick her up the next morning. She was waiting outside Maya's house with a small suitcase. Everything she owned fit in one bag. 8 years of her life, and it all fit in one bag. She got in my car, and we just sat there for a minute, not talking, just breathing. "I keep thinking I'm going to wake up," she said, "and still be there. You're not going back. Ever." The drive to Ohio took 4 hours. She stared out the window for the first hour, watching Indiana disappear behind us. Then she started asking questions about my apartment, my job, whether she'd have to change schools. "We'll figure everything out together," I told her. "One step at a time." She nodded, looked out the window again, then quietly said, "I'm glad Grandma saved your letters, even if she never gave them to me. At least she didn't throw them away." Karen's mother. She went along with the lies, but couldn't bring herself to destroy the evidence completely. Maybe she felt guilty. Maybe she hoped someday Lily would find them. I'll never know. She took that answer to her grave, but I'm grateful for whatever part of her conscience made her keep those letters instead of burning them. My apartment wasn't fancy. Small 2-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood. I worked as a warehouse supervisor. Nothing glamorous, but it was stable, safe, mine. Lily walked through the rooms slowly, taking everything in. The small kitchen with mismatched dishes, the living room with the secondhand couch. "It's not much," I said, "but there's a spare room. It's yours now. We can paint it whatever color you want." She walked into the spare room. Just a bed, a dresser, a desk, plain white walls, window overlooking a parking lot. She sat on the bed, ran her hand over the comforter. "I've never had my own room before. Always shared with Sophie. Not anymore. This is your space. Can we paint it blue? We can paint it any color you want." She smiled. First real smile I'd seen from her since the coffee shop. Blue. Definitely blue. The next few months weren't easy. Lily had nightmares. Would wake up screaming, thinking she was back in that house with Derek yelling. I'd sit with her until she fell back asleep. Sometimes for hours. Tell her she was safe. Tell her I wasn't going anywhere. She started therapy, worked through a lot of anger, a lot of grief, grieving the childhood she should have had, the father she should have known. The 8 years we'll never get back. Derek got probation. Not enough, if you ask me, but at least the world knows what he did. Karen filed for divorce a month after Lily left. She has supervised visitation now, once a month, if Lily agrees. Most months, Lily goes, not to see Karen, to see Sophie, her little half-sister who doesn't understand why her big sister left. She didn't do anything wrong, Lily told me once. She's just a kid. She shouldn't lose her sister because of what the adults did. That's my daughter, 12 years old and already more mature than either of her parents. Last week, Lily brought home a project from school, art class assignment. She'd made a timeline of her life using photos. Baby pictures on one end, recent photos on the other. But there was a gap in the middle, years 5 through 12, mostly empty. I didn't have any pictures of you from those years, she explained. But look, she pointed to something taped below the gap, a row of envelopes, my letters, arranged in chronological order like little bridges across the empty space. The missing years, she said. But they weren't really missing, just hidden. And now they're part of the story too. I couldn't speak, just pulled her into a hug. 8 years. 8 years they stole from us. But I'm not thinking about that anymore. I'm thinking about the years ahead. The birthdays we'll celebrate together, the graduations, teaching her to drive, walking her down the aisle someday. They tried to erase me from her life, her mother, my best friend. They lied and schemed and almost won. But my daughter found those letters in a storage unit, found the truth her grandmother couldn't quite destroy, found the courage to dial a number she'd memorized from a faded envelope, found her way back to me, and now nobody's ever taking her away again.